Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for today's Tips and Tricks training webinar. This month we're going to cover a couple of newer features. These were actually in our previous upgrade, which happened, it was about a month or so ago. We just updated again on this past Sunday night, so there will be a batch of newer features to show you in the coming months. So we're playing catch up here with some previous things. We've had a couple pretty large size updates lately, some pretty exciting new features. So today we're going to cover a couple smaller ones, and the bulk of our time today is going to be spent going through how to manage email notifications. This is something that we have, we periodically revisit in these webinars because it's one of our most frequent tech support requests, and questions come up about those. So, and there have been some new features relatively lately, so we'll cover all of that today. Just a note, we have in the GoToWebinar client that you downloaded to start the session, there is a zoom button in the upper left, which should help you expand your screen if you need to. I'm on a fairly large monitor, but not huge. So you can ask questions whenever you want in the client. We'll see those. If there's anything that we can address right then, we will, or we may save them towards the end if there's a significant number of questions. All right, so let's move on and get started. Now I'm logged into our main server here, and so this is the same server that you see. I am logged in as my own publisher for testing, and what I want to do is show a couple of newer reports that we've added. These have to do with ads that have been approved or rejected. So let's show you. Here they are. They're towards the bottom of the stack here, and there is a print ad approvals by issue, a digital ad approvals report, and the latest is publisher approvals and rejections report. You'll notice that there's a little gear icon here that tells you that you can configure the report right from there. That's a handy feature. You used to have to go into the company profile to do that, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Okay, all you have to do is click here, and for the publisher approvals and rejections report, this is a date range selector, so it's not by publication and issue. Many of the reports are. This you specify a range of dates, and that will tell you that it basically is going to cut across all publications that you have. Okay, so you just select what you want. I'm doing by calendar month, but you can do whatever. Hit Run Report. Okay, and when that finishes, you'll get a report that looks like this. Okay, and this will show you right here that it does show across multiple publications. It'll give you the file name, the name of the advertiser that was filled out, and who did the approvals, when, and what they did. Did they approve or reject it? And at the bottom, it gives you a little total of approvals and rejections. So very straightforward. Okay, let's come back to the print ad approvals by issue, and that tells you that again you'll be asked to give a publication an issue rather than the date range that we did before. Hit Run Report, and when you do that, you'll get a report that looks like this. This time again, it shows us our issue information, publication, and some of the dates, so you can identify the publication that you're looking at. And then it goes through and it lists all of the approvals. And this one will tell you the publisher approval name, again, who did it, when, and some information about the ads themselves. Okay, so this one gives you a little bit more detail, and it lists what was done by publication and issue. Okay, let's come back and point out again this configure option, configure report. This will let you rename the columns. So if there's something that we name our information doesn't match how you think of it, you can change that here. You can also reorder things. So simply drag and drop. So if one of these things you feel should be highlighted more by moving it earlier in the column order, you can do that. You can also change the file name. You can see that we use our standard variable code, our dynamic information, and anything that we support is here in this pop-up list. So just simply pick one of those things and it will add it to the name here. So let's quickly do that. Okay, and then you can put your own separators in however you want to do that. Okay. All right, just to point out where that used to be, I mean, it's still there, but we've given you an easier way to get to it. If you go to your company profile, your publisher information, that's the exact equivalent of going to the customizable reports and selecting it here. So this was what I had just shown you. So it's actually a really nice shortcut there, while you're actually thinking about a report, to be able to zip right to configuring it. Okay, the next thing I want to show you that's pretty new is the ability to make a reservation or an insertion, however you like to call it, for different types of ad, including a digital ad. For a long time, this was limited to just print ads, but now we're able to do this right from here. So select our digital ads profile. With these types of ads, digital ads, we group those by campaign rather than publication. So let's add that here. That could be a new one. It's kind of an arbitrary thing. You call it whatever you want to group this together. Advertiser, you can do whatever you want here. And just like in the print ad form, you can select an existing advertising company, or you have the option to put off that decision until later or make that assignment later. Okay, so you're not forced to do that right up front. If you want, you can supply a name and a contact email, and that will invite the person that you've added here. Okay, you can select the image type, rich media, whatever sorts of digital ads that you have configured in your portal. Add the placement. Whatever information you need to fill out here. Hit reserve space. And this now has made a reservation. And just like with print ads, if we've supplied a advertiser, they'll get notified. They can come in and hit add materials, upload their JPEG or GIF or whatever it is that they need to do. Okay, so it works very, very similarly to the types of reservations that you're accustomed to creating. You'll see that right there in the list. So basically, we've added that new type, and it should be very, very easy for you to go through and for users to understand how that works. Okay, let's go through now and get to our main topic, which is configuring emails. Now, email notifications, we send out a ton of notifications, both there's all kinds of events that trigger emails. There's also lots of different ways that these can go. There's lots of different ways that we can configure by language, by type of ad, who it goes to. There's all kinds of variables, and it's complicated. I mean, even for us in development and support, there's just so many variables with email. So we're always trying to make things a little easier. We try and make this so that although it is complex, to try and bring some order to it, and hopefully this will help you. Now, one of the things that makes it complicated is that they are configured in several different screens. So you kind of have to understand the whole concept of how we do notifications to be able to go in and set them to go, not only which ad notifications you want to go, but also what they contain, who they go to, and for users, how to even train your users to customize even further what information they receive. So anyway, let's get into it. The two big questions we have with configuring email are what and who. So first of all, what notifications are we going to send? That's controlled in your company profile. And one of the immediate things that makes it a little difficult or complicated is that you have to decide which ones to turn on based on the type of ad. So if you only do print ads, you'll go to one place. But if you also have digital ads, tablet ads, or ad creator ads, there's some what seems like duplication for some of these, and also some emails that are specific to that type of ad. There are some very common things in between all of these. They get uploaded, they get downloaded, they get approved, but there may be some things that are specific to the certain types. So we're going to focus on print ads, but I'll briefly show you at least one of the other examples. All right, so let's go to print ad settings, and let's scroll all the way down here in this section. And here we have the list of notifications. Now, these are like a global on-off switch. And what I mean by that is, unless you click on one of these, what we call events, you're not going to send out those notifications. So for instance, my test publisher here, I'm sending an email every time an advertiser approves an ad, and also when they approve it with warnings. Okay, so it depends on the state of the pre-flight which of those I'm going to get, but basically whenever an advertiser approves their ad, I'm going to get a notification. If I decide that that's really too much, I only really want to know about ones that have a warning attached to them. If they just sailed through pre-flight with no issue at all, then I can turn this one off, and I won't send that out to anyone for any publication. Okay, so again, this is a global switch for that event. Okay, and then we further customize who that goes to in other places. Okay, so the first thing to do is really to look at the range of options you have for each of the ad types and decide what you're going to turn on and what you're going to turn off. I have on more than maybe most people do, but I don't have everything on. You'll notice that most of them will start with the word notify us. That means you as the publisher. We do have a couple that notify the advertiser. And so there's ones notify advertiser when ad is approved by ad uploader. So they've finished their approval. They'll get kind of a receipt of the transaction through email. If you don't want to bother them with that, you can just turn that off. And you can notify the advertiser when maybe you've rejected their ad. Okay, so you turn that on there. But you can see that there's only really a handful of those. There's when the ad is complete, when it's approved by the ad uploader, and when it's been rejected by the publisher. Okay, so the other ones, most of these go to you as the publisher. All right. You'll notice under digital ad, let's use that as an example, we have another range of notifications. And even though there are things that are, these events, these actions are, the same thing as print, we allow you to notify different people with a different customized text, if you wish, for those events based on the ad type. Okay, so that's just important to understand. Your first decision is what are you going to send for which types of ad. Okay, once you've done that, you've got a list of what you're going to send out to people. You'll want to hit the configure button next to each one of these. Let's continue with the what question. What are we going to send? Well, every notification has a template that goes along with it. And this is something that we create as Blanchard systems, SendMyAd. We create a default template that works for everybody. Okay? And when the first time you load up this window for each of those notifications, you're getting what we created as kind of our standard template. If you make any change in this, it now becomes a copy and it becomes your custom template. So anything that you change, you now are getting your version. I want to point out that although most of you may not have any other language defined in the portal besides English, we do support other languages. And my test publisher here has Spanish enabled. Okay. So another decision is, are you going to have a custom version of every template based on the language? You probably ought to. So you'd have to translate that template for each language besides English that you want to use. But be sure that whatever changes you're making to the appropriate language. And you just select it from there, and that will reload the Spanish version or the English version. Okay, so now you can go through and adjust any of these things that you like. You can delete. This is a little text editor here, kind of basic, but you can add your own custom text. Just any random text that you want to add, any disclaimers, additional information, whatever. That will just appear verbatim in the email. Now we also have variables. We always call it variables in our communications with you from support or in development, but we're referring to what's in this dynamic info pop-up here. So add a dynamic variable, and you just simply have to click any of these. Okay, so if you want to have the headline of the ad appear here, just simply click that. Okay, now there's nothing special really about that text. Okay, you don't have to do anything particular. I mean, you can make it bold, you just highlight the whole thing. You can change, you can just add normal regular text in here. Okay, followed by another variable. Okay, so there's nothing, nothing sacred about that. It's just text. It just happens to be in this special format, which is a % followed by a code, some text that's significant for us, and then closed by one of these percent signs. Now, one very common thing that we see is someone will want one of these variables that they notice in one of their templates to appear in another template. And so they'll come and they'll look in dynamic info and they won't find it. And so they'll just copy and paste the whole thing from the template they like to the other one. And that won't work. If you don't see it in this list, it means that we don't support it. Okay. If that happens, let us know, because it might just be oversight. I mean, there are, as you can see, for a lot of these, a lot of fields. And truth be told, a lot of these are very common to all of the ads, but there are some that don't work for specific kinds of templates because they're not appropriate. Okay, we just don't have access to that information when we send that template. But if we can, we'll add it and just let us know what we might be missing. Again, it just may be an oversight on our part. Okay, so you can save and close that, and that will work for you. Okay. All right, so that's the what question. What are we going to send? If you can turn on one of these, when that event happens, when an ad is approved by the advertiser, we are going to send an email. Who we send it to is the next question, and that's where most of the confusion arises in this. Let me come back to that configure button. You'll see that the bottom half of this allows you to choose a default recipient for the publisher notification. Now, honestly, most people don't really change this. The default is default materials contact. That's the single contact that you set up for every publication. You can, however, if you want, select from one of your other groups, one of your configured user groups. So if you want that email by default to go to a list of users that you've created in the editorial group, great, select it there, and every notification for every publication will default to that set of users. Okay. Again, rarely used, but it's there. Okay. While we're here, I'm just going to point this out. This reset publication recipients, as I said, most of the time we're configuring this at the publication level. If you've gone through and you've set up a bunch of these publications and you've got all kinds of different users and groups assigned to the emails, and you've got 30 publications, and then the requirement comes down that actually you've got one single team that's going to deal with all the email notifications. You can set that here and just reset the publication recipient. So it will wipe out that publication level setup. And so it's just like a quick shortcut that prevents you from having to go to 30 publications and set all the notifications to this new group that's been thought of. Okay, so it's a little bit of a fix, for that situation. Again, not frequently used. Okay, so that's like the easiest case, that you've got notifications that you've turned on and you just want them to go to the default materials contact. Now, who is that person? That's in your publications. Go to each specific publication and you'll see it under print ad settings. Okay. It's right here, displayed material contact, okay, and this is a user. So the default behavior is you turn on a notification, you configure it, and that's going to go to me as the displayed materials contact, the default materials contact. Just to quickly switch gears, because we did talk about digital ads, I want to point out that the same thing is appropriate and used for digital ads. Now in this last update on Sunday, we've moved the web media profiles for digital ads out to this manage menu in the left of the interface. So that used to be under company profile for digital ads. We've kind of raised the visibility of that here. So if you click media profiles for your digital ads in the same area for settings, you'll see that I have a displayed materials contact selector. Okay, so it works the same, and that's where you find it now. Okay. All right, let's switch back to print ads. So my default is it's going to go to one person, the default materials contact for this publication. But if you want to make some changes to that, go to Manage Notification Settings. When that loads, you'll have this interface across the top with tabs for the different types of ads that you're set to use in your portal. Okay, so print ads is what we're focusing on here. And you can see that my default was to send this to the default materials contact for each of those notifications that I turned on. But if I click here, I can now select groups. So it's that same list of groups that was in the template area. Okay, so I can just say, hey, I want that to go to this group, and I want that to go to another group. Okay, on down through the list. Okay, that's easy enough to do. You can see that you can make that as complicated as you want, and if you get in here and you realize that you're missing a notification, there was one that you wanted to turn on, you can click the company profile right from here to go in and just click that checkbox to turn it on. Okay. Now you have to do that for every kind of ad. So I have Ad Creator turned on, but I don't have any notifications set to go, so there's nothing to configure for that. My tablet ads, I have fewer events that are set to notify, but I would need to select them here. Okay. So the way you can look at this is you as a publisher can set up things to be global, at the publisher level, company-wide, and then you can override those settings at each publication level. Every publication has this ability to have its own set of, who gets the emails. Okay, so you go through and set that here. Now, there's one further thing that makes this both more complex, but we also try and help you out and give you a way to troubleshoot. So when somebody comes to you and says, hey, I'm not getting the emails that I'm expecting to from SendMyAd, we've provided you a way for you to check that. Okay, so we've now set this up company-wide at the publication level, but the other level is by event subscription. Okay, and that started out in groups. So you've seen my list of groups here earlier. Let's go to this billing one. In every one of these groups, it has a notification settings area here. And we've got a set of checkboxes that all we have to do is click which events this group will subscribe to. Now, you'll notice that the list of events is not as extensive as what we were turning on in the company profile. Okay, so that not everything is eligible for this level of notification. If you see something that you feel should be in here, let us know, and we can probably add it. But in this case, it's it's the most common things. Most of the time, you want something, you want a notification when things are uploaded, when they're picked up, revised. Okay. So it's that typical, hey, an ad just got uploaded. Um, a, a very common use of this would be a sales team. You create a group of salespeople who to they need to get emails for all the publications, and it doesn't matter if they've got any real rights in the system or whatever. They need emails when they've got advertisers uploading stuff. So this sort of cuts across that per publication setup that I just showed you a few minutes ago. Anyway, so you turn that stuff on at the group level. Anybody that's been assigned in this group is going to get those emails. And they're the same emails, they're the same thing as what you configured and customized back in your company profile. One other note with this, if you've turned on the ability to manage your publications and web media profiles by group, they're only going to get the notifications for the groups that they've been assigned to here. Okay, so if you need to sort of separate out so that one group of salespeople is responsible for one list of publications, and then you've got another sales team that's responsible for all the West Coast advertisers or something like that, and their publications. That's how you would separate this out. Okay, now the final level here is at the user level, and this is where we try and give you some relief from all of the complexity of this. Let me show you my user here. In my user preferences, I have a notification settings. Okay, so regardless of how you as a publisher have set this up, I have some freedom as an individual user to, again, subscribe to those events. Okay. So if I decide that I as a user really need to get ads for any publication that I've got rights to use when an ad's picked up, okay, I can turn it on right here. Okay, tablet ads. Somebody's uploading a tablet ad. I don't care what publication it's in, even if I'm not in the default materials contact, or maybe I'm not in a group that's getting notified, I want to know about it. So I can turn that stuff on right here. Okay. And then the relief, the help is underneath that, where I can turn those on and off. We give you an overview of what emails you should be getting. So this is where, if a user comes to you and says, I used to get email notifications for this pub, and I'm not getting them anymore. Why not? This is the first place you want to look. So open their user preferences and then look to see, first of all, are they in a group that should be getting those event notifications? A group has been subscribed to get print ads uploaded. Yes. Okay, I just turned that on in billing, remember? So for print ads, because I'm in the billing group, I should get emails for uploads, pickups, and revisions. Now, even adding to that, we give you a summary here based on the publications. So it says that I'm the displayed materials contact. Okay, so for this other publication, I'm the materials contact for print ads as well as tablet ads. Okay, and I should be getting notifications for all these various ones that show here. Okay, so this was a test, a webinar one. Okay, I'm the contact for both print and digital ads. I'm getting notifications for print ads when they're uploaded and advertised or approved by advertiser. So it gives you like a quick troubleshooting, a quick summary of, okay, I think I should be getting a notification, but I don't see it in here. And if you don't see it in here, it tells you where to go. you know, I don't, um, you know, I don't see any notifications configured for that, you know, for that pub. So go and look at that publication setup. All right. Or I thought I was supposed to get them for, you know, title ABC, but title ABC's, you know, not in this list. Well, you know, maybe you don't have rights anymore to see that, that title. Okay. So even though this is complex, this we try and break it down for you so that um, you can see what, you know, what we think you should be getting. And if it shows here as, you know, this user is supposed to be getting them, that's when you contact us in support, and we can go through and try and figure out, you know, maybe why that notification is not being sent. There's a technical problem, or, you know, did something get missed in the setup? But this is your first triage here for trying to fix that issue. Okay. All right. There's a couple questions we can go through here. One was about the earlier reports. Someone has asked if there's a way to have these reports show the ads positioning tags. I don't believe that that was one of the existing fields, but let's take a quick look at that. If I go to my configure report, if I scroll down, okay, I don't see that in that report. Let's check this one. Okay, I don't see that there either. So we'll add it as a feature request and see if that's something that can be easily added. Many times that's you know, these are easy enough to add in. That particular one may be a little more difficult, but we'll open a support request for our developers and see if we can get that added. And then another question that very frequently comes up, no, sorry, infrequently comes up. It's not a big problem, but it has come up. Is if our emails coming out from SendMyAd is marked as spam. So you know, your advertisers call you up, hey, I'm not getting my emails. Why not? Oh, they're actually in my spam folder. Um, you know, email is one of those crazy things. I mean, we do what we can on the technical side with our email servers to be sure that, you know, we're sending out only good emails to people who've asked for them, and you know, so we're not on any sort of you know, list that you know, circulate as a bad neighbor with emails and get blocked. Um, but you know, there's all kinds of crazy things out there. Some organizations have very aggressive spam filters. So the fact that our emails reference advertising can sometimes trigger someone's, you know, very aggressive spam filtering, both at the server or even at the own individual users, um, uh, you know, their email client, Outlook, or whatever they're using. Um, by the way, we've seen that with something like ad blocker in the on the web browser. You know, that someone can't load a certain page in SendMyAd, and it's because, you know, ad blocker sees it as advertising and blocks it. So, you know, we lose control at some level. But the one thing that we always check first, if you come to us with that problem, is in the company profile under general settings. We give you the ability to change the outgoing email address. So you can change the default. We give you the option, but you know, if you've changed it and people are getting your messages flagged as spam pretty regularly, the first thing we're going to recommend is that you restore the default address here by clicking this button and using our value, because things get more suspicious if it, you know, the email is coming from our domain, but you've put in your own domain here, you know, your own publisher domain. So that's the only caveat, and the first thing that we would check in that case. All right. Well, I hope I have not put you to sleep or thoroughly confused you. I hope this helped. Email is complex. There's a lot of variables. Some of it's out of our control, as I just said. We do our best. If there's any suggestions you have, if there's variables you don't see that you like added, anything at all that can make email, easier for you and your users to deal with, let us know. We're always open to suggestions, as you know. So thank you for joining us today. On that same theme, we always want to have suggestions for the coming month's topics. Now, as I said, we have a lot of new features out recently. So, the next couple of webinars, we'll try and sneak some of those in. But if there's anything that you particularly would like to see, please let us know. You can send us an email to support, send to me directly, or talk to your sales rep, however you prefer. But we want to make these as useful as we can for you. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next month.